Welcome back to the GSL up and down matches. We have Group C today, and our next match is going to be SC against the STC.
That's right.
And of course you can see our current results. You can see SC, who hasn't played his first match yet. Maru going 0-1, as well as Bumblebee, both of our prime players, out of luck so far. Alicia 2-0, and JYP 0-1, and finally the STC at 1-0. So of course the STC and SC, very important match for SC. It's his first one, and the STC of course going for a 2-0. With this many people in the group, to go 1-1 early on is actually okay. Just gonna make sure you keep yourself at the very least at 0. If you go into the deficit, then you're in trouble.
Yes, indeed. And here's that graphic that we have comparing the different groups from different seasons. We have Season 1 Group B and Season 1 Group D. The race breakdown of what happened.
See, basically in Group B and Group D, both of these groups had 3 Terrans, 2 Processes, and a Zerg. And in Group B, 2 Terrans advanced, and in Group D, 1 Terran and 1 Protoss advanced. So we'll see how today kind of matches up to that. You can see how long the groups took as well. 4 hours and 18 minutes and 4 hours and 44 minutes. So we've probably got about 4 hours left.
About 4.5 hours both times. So with this particular makeup of races, so yeah, about 3 and maybe 3.5 hours left, something like that. Awesome.
It's going to be a long
Got
ride
a lot
StarCraft.
more StarCraft to see, and that's going to be very cool. Now, I want to point out something here. The STC is at 1-0 right now. If he wins this next game against SC, he's going to be in such good shape because the STC actually has a very, very strong game versus Protoss. And he has not played either Protoss yet. So, basically, he's almost guaranteed to get at least win-win off the 2 Protoss players, and has a good chance of beating both of them as well. So if he can beat SC and get 2-0 before he gets to those Protosses, he's actually going to be in a really good position for getting into Code S today.
Yeah, very true. It'll also help keep himself mentally stable. SC hitting his chest there a little bit.
Yeah.
And
he looks a little bit ill today. I mean, not actually. He doesn't look like he's actually sick, like he has a cold, but I don't know. Maybe he's tired or something like that. He looked a little bit like worn down when I saw him in the makeup room, and now here he is kind of coughing a little bit. I don't know. Hopefully it doesn't affect his play, though.
Yeah, I hope not. I mean, he's had a lot of health problems actually in the past, so we'll see.
Oh, that's true. That's right. I forgot about that.
That's why I'm really concerned. I want to make sure everything's okay with him. I hope he can do well today in his matches today. The first map we have for SC will be Daybreak. Can he take out the STC, the Unable Rock, or will STC go up 2-0? We'll find out here at the GSL up and down matches.
Don't stop it, keep rocking. Adrenaline phenomenon, let's use it. No need to cruise it, just lose it.
All right, down here at the bottom left of the map, this Terran player, he hasn't played many TVTs in recent months. So we're going to find out today what his Terran versus Terran is like.
MVP SC.
Although his last match in TVT was a shutout by MVP a couple seasons ago. Last match before that was a shutout by Supernova. So it doesn't look good if you're looking at his recent results. But here is a player who has a pretty decent TVT.
오제스터 STC.
But is inconsistent, so we're going to see how he plays here today. This is a very macro-oriented map.
He's going gas first, so we'll see what he's got planned.
Interesting.
Probably Cloak Banshees, but it could be any number of things. He's doing a very good job of checking his proxies before he makes his barracks.
Just wants to be sure. This is a macro-oriented map. You usually do see players go for a more longer-term strategy, but sometimes that's the best map to go for a rush because your opponent is not expecting it as much. So very prudent of him to check around for the shenaniganry before proceeding.
Yeah, very true. Now, I think if STC, I mean, so far he's not taking the gas. If he goes for a 1 barracks expand, he can defend against Cloak Banshees. It just depends on whether or not he finds out about it, and if he goes for a barracks follow-up or if he goes for a factory follow-up. It's so difficult the defending against Cloak Banshees if you go for a Barracks follow-up to your command center and you don't go immediately into Vikings, because without Vikings, Cloak Banshees is so difficult to deal with. He will see the gas first. That's going to tip him off very, very quickly that something is up here. He didn't stick around very long, but he does see the factories. Now he knows for sure, wow, gas first, you know.
Yeah, definitely. He's going to be expecting some kind of an early tech build, which is, well, exactly what's going on. Now, what is he going to do with this tech build is the question. Is he going to go for Banshees or is he going to go for something else? He's building a tech lab on his barracks, and I wouldn't be surprised if he uses that for a starport later on. But we could also see Hellions.
And it could also potentially be just a fast siege tank push. He only has one gas right now. He hasn't taken a second one yet to get Cloak. And I think it is just going to be a fast tank push, and he may even expand behind it. Ooh, it is going to be a starport.
It is a starport.
Weird tech lab timing there, but gets it out ASAP. Now making a Hellion.
Yep, and I kind of like that. He can then use, instead of making the tech lab on the factory, by making it on the barracks, he can have a little bit more time with that factory, making a Hellion while the starport is building, and then he'll have Hellions out, and that can be very good because then if you can get a couple shots off with some Hellions against enemy Marines, it'll soften them up a lot better for the Banshees.
Yeah, with the bunker on the way though, smart move by STC. He also made his command center in his main rather than the natural after scouting the gas first. He should be able to stop any Hellions that he will encounter. The Hellion will only be able to see that there's no command center on the low ground. He'll have to retreat immediately afterwards.
Yep.
Now the Banshee is on the way, no Cloak. Since he only got one gas, he's just going to go for a Banshee expand. And with the Banshee expand, you can pretty much be dead even with your opponent. It's an interesting build. If you get lucky or if you control it perfectly, you can even get ahead from it, but usually you become even with this type of build. Especially with the STC going for a follow-up of tech rather than a multiple barracks follow-up.
Yeah, that's going to be wise. He's going to be able to get a starport down, and first Banshee's already actually in play. And when I say first, I mean only because he has switched the tech lab back over to his barracks to make stim.
Yep, and STC saw this. He's even put his Marines to the right side of the base to spot for the Banshee, but now there's no defense against the Hellions, so this is actually going to catch him very off guard, I think. When the Banshee sees all the Marines are here, the Hellions are going to dart into the main, most likely, and it's going to be really tough. Back at home, SC has also started stim research. Now the Marines haven't spotted here. He's controlling the Banshee. The Hellions are not running in, however.
There is one Marine in that bunker still, but there go the Hellions finally running in. And the Banshee's almost dead, but he redirects his fire towards the Hellions. The Banshee's going to survive. The Hellions not lining up well, are doing tons of damage. And he does polish off all those Hellions, though. Significant losses to Marines, however, but is there a Viking? Yes, Viking's about to pop up.
That was actually terrible by the STC. His control was not good. He actually targeted all of his Hellions on one SCV that wasn't lined up with the Marines.
Oh.
Lost a lot of fire time there. Back at home, the SC has made 2 reactors, which he's going to be using for double barracks now.
Whoa.
So he's going to be going very Marine heavy. He's going to go into a Marine tank composition with Stim 3/4 of the way done and his command center up. Even though he lost his Hellions and his control wasn't that good, the worker count is now dead even, with both players landing their command centers at approximately the exact same time. So, like I said, this build can sometimes get you ahead, but usually it can get you about dead even.
And the Viking is hunting for the Banshee and finds his prey. And
her prey.
Her prey. Wait, is the Viking a female also?
Oh wait, no, I don't know. I was thinking of the Banshee. No, the Viking's a male.
Okay.
Well, you don't really know. I mean, the Viking probably is a male. He doesn't show much of his face.
The Terran Air Force is an equal opportunity employer.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the thing is, the Vikings have a little robotic hint to their voice because of the way their comlinks go. So I don't know 100% sure. I mean, they're probably all male for the most part, but...
What does the portrait look like?
You can't really see because it has a mask. When it goes into attack mode, you can see part of its face, but it's not quite clear.
Okay. Anyway, we do have a drop coming in the back. STC is going to drop a few Marines in the back. They do have Stim.
Yep, and with that Stim, he should be able to get a few SCVs here. Looks like he can get 2.
Yeah,
we'll get an extractor, or refinery rather.
SC's army is way out in the map, so he's going to have a hard time coming back here. He gets a Viking, a little bit sloppy. He's going to get a tank as well. Maybe he's stimming up to the tank. He does get the tank, and that is a pretty good trade there, despite losing the medevac. Getting a Viking and a tank is pretty good.
Yeah. The worker count 39 to 35 now with the STC pulling slightly ahead. Siege mode is on the way for the STC. Combat shield's halfway done as well as his +1. And SC, on the other hand, his research of siege mode is already done. His siege tank count is 3 to 0, so he's ahead in siege tank count. So he's got a really nice timing to move out here. That's exactly why this drop hit, because the STC knew with that timing he might just die. But he's committing a lot to this double drop here. It could do a ton of damage. If he doesn't force SC to turn around, though, he's still going to have a huge force to contend with at his natural.
Yeah, then this, I don't know if he can even turn around, man, because he's so far out there. He's not going to get back before all the damage is done. So these Marines, he's probably just going to wait for reinforcement tanks to pop out. And there we have it. A tank does pop out. He's sieged up, and he can't get close enough to kill the tank with the SCV standing in the way. So SC is going to hold the drop, and now going in with siege tanks of his own to attack the STC. Oh, that one Marine does finally die.
So many SCVs, though. The worker count now 44 to 26 in the STC's favor, but that won't last very long if he can't hold this base.
I don't think he can. He does have the high ground advantage, but he doesn't even have siege mode. Well, no, he does.
He does.
He needs to get tanks within range to actually stop those siege tanks, and yes, he needs to lift that orbital up. But instead, he's going in with his SCVs to try and defend this. His last chance. He's trying to stim down the tanks. One tank goes down. The second one goes down. The third one does go down as well. The STC holds, but at what cost? Both players slaughtering SCVs in each other's bases, and at the end of the day, they're almost even. The STC with just a few SCVs more.
The STC has such a larger army right now, though, and he's got so much medevac support for him. He even has combat shields, whereas his opponent does not. SC does not even have stim right now. He's about to, but he doesn't have it yet.
Wow.
And the STC also has +1 for his Marines, so he's got a huge tank advantage and an army size advantage that he's going to push right now. He's not going to wait. He can do a two-pronged attack. He can drop into the main and push at the other side at the same time. He's going to break down these rocks, which I really don't like because he has a very specific timing right now that he's going to miss by destroying these rocks, but either way, I mean, he is going to be able to reinforce faster. He's starting a third base right now. It looks like he doesn't want to end that game, doesn't want to use that advantage that he has right now to end the game now. He just wants to play for a longer one where he's already ahead.
Here he is moving into the middle of the map. MVP SC forced to fall back from that watchtower, cedes control of that vision to the STC in the middle of the map, and
Doom drop.
Uses the fact that he can't see much to load up everything in the medevacs. He doesn't have a huge army actually, but he loads up even more in that, so this is going to be a doom drop and deep. I don't know how SC is going to deal with this.
Well, if he does it right on top of these Marines, it will be helpful, but...
There we go. He targets down one of the medevacs, but only 2 Marines die inside of it, and he's going to be able to siege up in the back of his base.
You can hit the tech lab on the factory, which will mean no more siege tanks for now.
Counter drop by SC in the main of the STC, but I think that's going to be dealt with pretty well, and in the meantime, the STC is within range to hit the production facilities of SC, which is exactly where you want to be in this sort of scenario. Assaulting those factories and those barracks. I'm sorry, that factory, singular.
The factory does force to be lift. Does not get the siege tank out of it that he wanted to. Oh, he's going to try to break this. I don't know about this.
A little bit slow reaction by the STC, but he's got so many Marines that it doesn't matter. He slaughters SC's SCVs. And with a tank surviving, Marines. GG coming from SC and the STC. Ladies and gentlemen, he's on an update today. He is at 2-0.
Looking really good so far. Really nice holds in that game. Great drops, and also his tech was going really well. And man, SC is not looking good right now. I hope he's okay.
Yeah, I'm starting to get a little worried with him pinned his chest like that, but
yeah, it's actually stressing me out a little bit. But yeah, his play there, he was a little bit behind the STC in every way. The STC had his +1 faster, he had stim, he had combat shields faster, and that was the reason why he was able to break that tank contain so easily with just the +1 on the Marines with combat shields. He just burst through, and the drop that was on the main was defended so well because even though he had less Marines, just by like 1 or 2, he just had +1 in combat shields, he defended the drop, and then the SC couldn't really defend against his drops as well. He just didn't have the upgrades. He had to turn around that one time, so he missed a really nice timing, and everything just got out of control. The major drop, the big doom drop at the end, was a bit of a risk by the STC, but he was so far ahead that he said, just go for it, and it worked out for him.
Why not? Why not drop everything I have in his main and see what happens?
We are going to have Terius against JYP as our next map, and it will be on the same map. In fact, it will be on Daybreak.
Yep. And thus far, every single game has been won by the player on the right side of the listing on our schedule. So if that trend continues, JYP is fated to win.
If that trend continues, man. This has happened before.
It has.
Yeah. So we'll see if it's a curse or not, or what's going to happen on this next map. I'm really curious to see what we're going to see JYP do here. We just saw Alicia all-in Bumblebee with Blink Stalkers. And I watched the replay, by the way, and I think my mic was actually hot when I said it. I said he had no idea. It was as early as he was sitting across the map, it looked like he had a plan to do an all-in with roaches. He didn't scout at all. He was not having any intention of defending. He was trying to do an all-in, but it just didn't work.
It was just some, I hate to say it, but kind of sloppy play by Bumblebee.
He was doing an all-in. I mean, his opponent was doing an all-in, and he was doing an all-in, and it was like, oh, well, his all-in wins in this situation. It hits first.
He didn't really execute his all-in very well, though. I think Terius kind of, throwing away all those Zerglings and not realizing what the situation was.
Yeah.
Not waiting for the rest of his Roaches and Lings if he was going to do that. Was a little bit of a mistake. Anyway, but we're going to get started with Bumblebee versus JYP. Zerg versus Protoss. ZVP. I was trying to think of some other way to add an E sound at the end to make it rhyme, but it's Daybreak.